after about the fourth double shot, it started to go in a whole different direction.
That figures.
There was this meanness that started to come out of both of them. Like these hidden snakes. A terrible meanness that was like murder almost. It was murder.
What do you mean murder?
Their eyes changed. Something in their eyes, like animals. Like the way an animal looks for weakness in another animal. They started poking at each other's weaknesses, stabbing, just a little bit at a time. Like the way that rooster used to. That rooster that we had that would look for the tiniest speck of blood in a hen or a chick, and it'd start pecking away at it. And the more it pecked at it, the more excited it got until finally it just killed it.
Yeah, we had to boil that one. Tough son of a gun.
They locked into each other like there was nobody else at the bar. At first it was all about sports, about who could throw a hard ball faster, which one could take the toughest hit in football, which one could run the fastest and the longest. That's the one they decided to do the big test, and they decided to prove it to each other once and for all. So they downed a couple more tequilas and they crashed through the doors of the place out into the street.
I thought you said he could barely stand up.
Who?
Your father.
That was before he'd had a drink. Now it's like he had a transfusion or something. That tequila went right into his blood and lit him on fire. He crouched down right beside Jake in a racing position, and they were both deadly serious. And then they took off. Dad took about 4 strides and fell flat on his face, but Jake never stopped. He ran like a wild colt and never once looked back. Straight up the block into the next bar. I tried to help Dad, but he turned and snarled at me. Just like a dog. Just exactly like a crazy dog. I saw it in his eyes. This deep, deep hate that came from someplace far away. It was pure, black hate with no purpose.
That was him, all right.
He wouldn't let me help him. He just crawled up the street toward the bar that Jake went into. And there I was following along behind. I felt so stupid. He kept turning and snarling at me to keep back, but I didn't want to fall too far back because I was afraid something...
What?
I was afraid something bad might happen to him. But it happened anyway.
What happened?
Jake came up with this brilliant idea. He said, since we're only about a mile away from the American border, we should continue to hit every bar until we got to the other side. First one to the other side won. First one to America. But we couldn't miss a bar. Right then, I knew what Jake had in mind.
What?
Jake had decided to kill him.
What in the world are you talking about?
It was just the same. It was just the same as if he had a gun. He knew what was going to happen. Dad couldn't even walk anymore. He couldn't even stand. His knees were all bloodied. Jake knew that all he had to do was push him over the edge. Just a few more drinks and he'd be gone.
That is the most lame-brained, idiotic piece of claptrap I ever heard in my life. Jake might be a lot of things. He might be crazy. He might be wound a little loose in some areas, but he would never, ever in this world try to kill his own father. How can you say something like that?
I was there. I was right there, and I saw every inch of it. I saw him killed. I saw it happen. I saw him splatter all over the road like some lost piece of livestock. He was trying to run down the middle of the highway. He was trying to beat his own son to the border. He didn't even know what country he was in anymore. Jake murdered him, and he never once looked back. He was already in some bar ordering the next round of drinks. He never even got up when he heard the sirens.
It was an accident, that's all. Just an ordinary accident. Could be helped.
No, Mom. It was no accident.
He didn't know what he was doing, any more than his father did.
He knew. He still knows. He made me promise. That's how come he didn't tell you face to face. That's why the cop came to your door.
He's not a murderer. My son is not a murderer. Why is everyone trying to make him out to be this criminal? First, that woman of his. He never should have got tied up with that woman in the first place. She's the cause of all this. And now you've turned against him.
I'm just telling you what I saw with my own eyes.
What you saw? What you saw? You stood there and watched your own father get run over by a truck in the middle of a Mexican highway, and you're trying to tell me Jake murdered him?
That's the way it happened.
What about you? Jake was nowhere near him, you said. What were you doing? Standing there helpless? You were the only one sober, and there was nothing you could do? Is that the story?
Dad wouldn't let me near him. I couldn't get near him.
You couldn't have gone for help? Were your legs broke or something?
There was nowhere to go. Jake had the keys.
Jake! 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 You're the one listening. It's you that wanted him dead. It's you that wants Jake dead, too.
No!
It's you that wants to undermine this entire family. Drag us down one by one till there's no one left but you.
I'm just sick of covering up for him. I'm sick to death of covering everything up. I'm sick of being locked in this room, in our own house. Look at this room. What are we doing here? This was Jake's room when he was a kid. What are we even doing here now? What are we supposed to be hiding from?
I know one thing for sure. All these airplanes have got to go. All these airplanes are coming down. Every last one of them. All the junk in this house that they left behind for me to save, it's all going. We'll make us a big bonfire. They never wanted it anyway. They had no intention of ever coming back here to pick it up. It was just a dream of theirs. They dreamed it up just to keep me on the hook. Never meant a thing to them. Can't believe I fell for it all these years.
I didn't want him to die, Mom.
It doesn't matter now. He was one of them hopeless men. Nothing you can do about the hopeless. You know what I miss more than anything now?
What?
The wind. One of them fierce, hot, dry winds that come from deep out in the desert and rip the trees apart. You know, those winds that wipe everything clean, leave the sky without a cloud. Pure blue